because I remember like when I worked in a supermarket, Christmas time was supposed to be this like happy time, right? Like people were getting their food for Christmas, presents, yay. But people could not have been ruder if they tried. Like it was actually worse at Christmas. So I dreaded that time of year. And I think one of the craziest ones I can think of off the top of my head was, it was just surreal, really. There was a guy that came in one day and he like lost his umbrella or something. And I recognized him because he was a guy that had screamed at me about like, what was it? Change or something. Like look, I've never been good at maths. I suck at maths, right? So I'm a bit slower when it comes to counting. Right? I can count, but this was like before the days when the till would tell you specifically what change to give. So you know, forgive me for not being a maths wizard. And he gave me more money than I needed. And I said that, and he was like, yes, of course. Are you an idiot or something? I want my change back. That's why I gave you that. And I was like, oh. And another reason why I hesitated is because in retail, there were scams and people that would go around and deliberately, like, because we were told not to give cash back. That was a big thing we were told not to do. You'll see a lot of supermarkets do, but some don't. And it's because there is this like running scam, and I can't remember exactly how it works, but it's like something to do with the flow of money, and you can get caught out where they end up getting more money than they should, because they keep asking for like cash back or something. I can't remember exactly how it works, but I was wary of that. Okay. So he'd like screamed in my face like I was a piece of shit on the floor for that. And he came in like 2 weeks later, and he'd lost his umbrella apparently, and that was of course, you know, the end of the world. Very, very important moment in his life that demanded that everyone stop what they were doing because this man has lost his umbrella. So apparently he put it to a side or something, and he'd asked, hey, has it been given in? And I said, I'll find out for you. And at the time it was very busy. It was Christmas time. So, you know, I didn't really have time to go around on a fucking Easter egg hunt trying to find his umbrella. But at the same time, it's customer service. This customer has asked for something. And despite him being rude, in that moment, he wasn't being rude. So I tried to help him. I looked everywhere downstairs. I looked everywhere upstairs. I asked several managers if it had been handed in. I did everything I could do. This umbrella was not there. So I came back to him to give him the bad news. And of course, he flipped at that. He was like abusive and just shouting and screaming at me. And he was like, I want to speak to a manager. So of course, I went and got the manager, and the manager comes over. Now, this is where it gets surreal. So I've got the duty manager to the right of me and the rude man to the left of me. Now, I'm standing there in case I need to, I don't know, tell the manager what's happened. Like, I gave her a cliff notes, but maybe she needs more information from me. Maybe I might be asked to do something in response to this in just a moment. Like, I don't know. I'm there in the moment in case I'm needed. The guy turns and looks at me and goes, this is a private conversation. And I was just stunned by the level of rudeness. And I turned and looked at the duty manager, and she didn't smirk exactly, but she kind of gave that look like, yeah, I know this guy's an asshole. And she just said to me politely, like, oh, I'll catch up with you in a bit, Christian. And we did in the end, and it was sorted. But yeah, he was an asshole. And if you consider the fact that like this would have been a guy in his mid-40s screaming at like a 19-year-old kid, I think it does kind of put it into perspective. Especially when said kid was just trying to help him out. You know, I wasn't like some scrawny kid who just didn't care. Like, I was trying to help, and he was so rude. And it's interesting, like, how things stay with you. I mean, look, I'm 32 now, and I remember that as clear as day. I can remember so many things over the years of people being unreasonable